Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news as a double deal gets closer in the midfield. Scott McTominay could be heading to Fulham, we've been saying that for a while now, but also Ugarte's deal gets closer. We've also got a potential update on Yoro. I'm not convinced it's true, but apparently it's a metatarsal injury. We've heard of those before, haven't we, with Beckham and Rooney? And it could be it could be 2 months before he plays again, 6 weeks of recovery. We will see about that. I suspect that we will get a update from Erik ten Hag at some point tomorrow after the game or before the game where he will talk about that. Obviously, there is a watch along tonight. Who's with me at 3 a.m? Come on. And it's the book launch. 3 a.m. and the book is officially out on the 1st of August, so we will be up in the early hours of the 1st of August to watch Man United play Betis and celebrate the launch of my book. But no, seriously, it is out tomorrow. But we've got lots to get into on the show. So there's a talk of a £30 million bid for Scott McTominay from Fulham. João Neves is here we go. We thought it would happen on Tuesday. It's happened on Wednesday. Here we go, João Neves to PSG. Does that move Ugarte closer to Manchester United? Also, the fee that's been agreed for João Neves, basically £52 million plus add-ons and a loan player. It all comes to about £60 million. This is a player that Man United spent all season scouting. You have to ask the question why Manchester United didn't move in for him. Lots to get into on the show, as ever, and your comments too. Lovely chat this afternoon. It was really, really grown up, mature on both sides. If you watch this afternoon's show about the Wan-Bissaka debate at the end of the show, it was really, really mature. And I've got to say, this is the community that I love for it and my part in it as well. But that guy, welcome to the Members Club. You're an absolute legend. Thanks for getting your badge in. Welcome everybody in the chat. I can see people here. Nobby says Fulham are spending wisely, and Michael says McTominay is staying and Lee Berman's going to be here at 3 a.m. I was being sarcastic, Dylan, yes. But I like those sort of debates. I mean, it makes me laugh when I watch when I look at the comments afterwards and people are going, pathetic, Mark. I thought it was a community. But if someone if someone disagrees with you, you tell them they're wrong. And I sit there in the comments and I laugh and I go, what am I supposed to do then? If I don't agree with somebody, I'm meant to go, I don't agree with them, but let's just everyone agree. You get people in the comments going, I thought it was about everybody's opinion, Mark, but if someone says something you don't agree with, then you say, you just put them in their place. But what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't, of course, you have your say, I have my say, and then the audience make their mind up. Some people think Goldbridge is a twat. Some people go, actually, I think he's talking sense. That's the way it works. You agree to disagree. Mark, I just landed in San Diego for the game. Will United stand be at the pre-game, says Sam. We are there. Beth is there. Ryan are there. Yep. But Chloe says, you don't agree, then insult people at times. No, that very rarely happens, and you're a prat. Right, let's get into the show. We're going to talk off straight away about Scott McTominay. There is a story coming out tonight that Scott McTominay will be the victim. That's not the word. Scott McTominay will be subject to a £30 million bid from Fulham. What we understand is it's 25 plus 5, and Fulham are going to go back in for Scott McTominay. I think this is absolutely the right thing to do. I think it's, you know what? I might just shock people here. I think it's the right fee for the right player at the right time and the right player for Fulham. I don't think there's a loser in this. I really don't. I just think it's absolutely logical. If Scott McTominay hadn't come from the youth setup and he was Scott Ferreira from Spain, who'd been here for the last 6 years and performed like he has, we would be biting the hand off Fulham to do this deal. This is just sentimentality for a youth player who's got abs and everybody likes. And that's it. That's the truth. If he was Scott Ferreira from Spain, who'd been bought in from Sevilla 6 years ago and performed exactly the same, he's good in the air and can score a goal in the box, everyone would be saying it's time for him to go. So forget the sentimentality, get ruthless, get the money in the bank and buy Ugarte, because that's what I'm going to say here. McTominay out, Ugarte in, bada bing, bada boom. We need to sell a midfielder to buy Ugarte. And at the moment, the only deal on the table is Scott McTominay to Fulham or Galatasaray. There is nothing going on with Casemiro. There is nothing going on with Eriksen. The only player that brings in any money is Scott McTominay. And that's it. So if you want Ugarte, It's time to go for McTominay. I will say this, though. I genuinely am not convinced this deal will happen. We've been here before. We've played the game. We've been here before. Exactly a year ago to the day, West Ham did exactly the same bid, and United said they wanted 40. Wow. But honestly, I think 25 plus 5 for Fulham. I actually think he'd do a good job there as well. I think if he played every week for Fulham, which he would, I could see him scoring them between 5 and 10 goals a season in the Premier League. And I think he'd be a valuable asset for Fulham. And I think he'd be a good player for Fulham. I've seen it before. I've seen Phil Neville be a utility player for Man United and end up being a really important player for Everton. I've seen it before. Kieran Richardson couldn't really get in the team for Man United, goes to West Brom, was quite a good player. So I think it's a good deal. I'm not in any way, shape or form, whether he went to Galatasaray or Fulham, I'm not sitting here and saying he's a bag of shite, we are lucky to get £5 for him. I have said that in the past, but honestly, he does have his traits that are positive. He's good in the air and he's good at arriving in the box and scoring goals. That's not enough for Arsenal, Liverpool or Man City, so it's not enough for Man United. And also, I don't think that's enough from the bench for a team like Man United. If Arsenal are drawing at home against a low block, are they going to bring Scott McTominay on? No. And it works sometimes. It worked against Brentford very, very well. But now is the time to cash in. Otherwise, you're going to give him a new contract. And look, I think it's pitiful that he could end up spending 10 years at Man United when better players didn't even spend half that time. I think now's the time to cash in, but I'm not convinced that we will do it, if I'm being completely honest. If McTominay does go, how long before his replacement, says Lee? Well, look, if we sell a midfielder, we'll sign Agate. United aren't making any secret about that at all. We need to sell to buy. Look at the Wan-Bissaka situation. We've got an update on that. But we can't buy Mazraoui. He's gone on tour to bloody Asia. Nothing wrong with Asia, by the way. Just it's a long way. I'm saying bloody all the way to Asia. I don't want to get in trouble for stuff like that. He's gone on tour to bloody Asia, long way, because Man United haven't sold Wan-Bissaka yet. And yet we've agreed personal terms and Bayern Munich want to sell him. So we got to sell to buy. We got to sell to buy. It's as simple as that. And the only midfielder that looks sellable at the moment is Scott McTominay. And it's pure profit as well. It's pure profit. That 25 million, that's the first down payment on Agate. It's good money. So beam me up, Scotty, says Lawrence Keenan. Sean Macco's gifted a membership. We're buzzing tonight. We are. You know, I'm in a good mood tonight. I'm looking forward to the game later. Plans for later, I'm not staying up. I am going to go to bed at about 10, try and get 4 hours, get up at 2, take the puppy for a piss, and probably go live for about 2:30. The problem with going live at 2 is that these games always get pushed back and you end up live for about an hour and a half before the game. So I'm going live at 2:30 because I've got the tactics. Want a bit more time in bed as well. Ollie says, hello Mark, would you ever consider streaming these on Spotify, driving job and struggle to watch live? Great work, United stand as always. How do you stream on Spotify, Ollie Olsen? I quite like the idea of that. Crazy Irishman has gifted a membership, thank you. I tell you what, I'm absolutely gutted. Our 10-year anniversary show was going to be in Dublin on Monday the 14th at the Olympia, and they've only gone and given it to somebody else. I'm fucking fuming. I'm absolutely fuming. That would have been perfect. Dublin, Monday the 14th of December at the Olympia, which is right central Dublin, and they've given the date to someone else. Fucking absolutely gutted. And I'm basically Irish as well. I lived there for 4 years. Jokers, absolute jokers. I don't know who they've given it to, so I want to be very careful. They might have given it to you too or something, but I am gutted about that. So I don't know what we're doing for the Christmas show now. We might have to change city, which really pisses me off. If McTominay does go, how long before his replacement? Thank you very much for that. Oki has gifted a membership as well. It's the right move all round for Scott to Fulham, says CSL. Come join me on the Fulham stand, says Robert McCormack. He's changed from the Galatasaray stand. John Boy Sykes, welcome to the Members Club. Casemiro will be the loser, says Rory C. Custis saw the crutches and took a cold, hard guess, says Mary Franco. We'll talk about this. Oki, thanks very much for your super chat. Sam Brown says, I read a chapter of your book at half-time. I'll read a chapter of your book at half-time later, says Sam. Okay, because it'll be out, yeah. Mark, I just landed. I've done that one. Thank you very much. Get your comments in, by the way. Give us your thoughts on this Thursday night, what you think about everything that we're going to be talking about. some people are going to say, "Oh, yeah, I can already tell you what's going to be in the comments later." They'll turn up going, "Tomorrow, Agate deal off," because it says Agate deal close. They think they're comedians. They've been doing it for 10 years. They'll go, "Tomorrow's headline: Agate deal off," and they'll love themselves for it. What they don't realise is we're reacting to the news as football fans, right? Agate deal close is based upon the fact that tonight it's closer than it was this morning, because Man United need to sell a midfielder to buy Agate, and we've got a bid going in for Scott McTominay of 30 million, which is perfect. So it's closer. It's also closer in another way as well. So there's two big reasons to those people who put those comments in. The second reason is that João Neves to PSG is here we go. Fabrizio Romano has literally put it out. Chanda says, "How do I get the book in India?" I really should have put this up earlier. Amazon, mate. You've got Amazon in India, haven't you? I mean, look, Indian people have got every right to be absolutely insulted by that. I mean, I've never been to India and I've never been on your internet. I don't even know if you've got porn or anything. I've got no idea. I mean, I just haven't got a clue. I'm not being offensive. I just don't know. Have you got Google? I don't know. But if you've got Amazon, order it from Amazon. The audio version and the book are available on Amazon. Scan the QR code. Scan the QR code with your camera phone or go through the link in the description. You'll get it delivered tomorrow. Somebody says, "We have got porn in India, Mark. It's fantastic." There you go. Well done. Forever. It's everywhere, isn't it, that porn? Everywhere. Forever Red, thank you very much for your membership. Welcome to the Members Club. We're in a good mood tonight. This rate, United will have no British players left, says Not Now Dave. Mate, we will have loads of British players yet, because I tell you what I didn't mention on the show this morning, Obi Martin will be homegrown and classed as a homegrown player for the rest of his career at Man United. He's only 16, so he'll easily get 3 years in before he's 21. So Obi Martin, if he starts playing for Man United, he's a homegrown player straight away. Same with any player that we bring in from the youth. Harry Amas is obviously homegrown anyway. So Shea Lacey will be homegrown. Mainu is homegrown. Like, we've got loads of players that are going to be homegrown. We shouldn't be keeping players that are... just because, they're classed as homegrown. Aaron says he's not British, though. Yeah, people are getting thick in the chat. When people say our British quota is going to go down, what they mean is our homegrown quota is going to go down, which is actually irrelevant, whether you're British or whether you're from Denmark. If you've played, the homegrown rota is all that matters. The Premier League aren't bothered whether you're British. It's homegrown. Now, you might want loads of British players in. That might be your point, but I couldn't give a toss about that. He's only 16 years old, in Michael Caine's voice, says Angel Bomb. Have you bought the pup a doggy United kit yet, says Lee. Didn't know you could do that. Mark, do you see this Scooby-Doo deal going through, says Kieran G. No, I don't. Honestly, I don't. And James Parkinson says anniversary should be in Manchester, Marky. Well, it might bloody well have to be now. Nothing wrong with it being in Manchester, but we did the Christmas show in Manchester last year. I wanted to take it to Dublin this year. Forever a Red, welcome to the Members Club. If anybody knows anybody at any big event, big place in December in Dublin that can get us somewhere, then pull your magic. This rate United will have no. Done that one. Hello, Mark. Would you ever consider? I've done that one. Right. So Agate is close because we might be selling McTominay to Fulham. There's talk of a £30 million bid, which we understand is 25 plus 5. It might be 23 plus 22 plus 8. There's some talk about it won't be 30 up front. It will include some add-ons, which is fine. Because McTominay will hit the add-ons because he is available a lot and he does score goals. So I wouldn't have any problem with that. But Agate is also close because João Neves to PSG is now, here we go. Fabrizio Romano has confirmed it. So PSG have signed João Neves. João Neves is a replacement for Agate. So if Man United are selling a midfielder and PSG have gone, here we go, with Benfica on Neves, logically, we're closer to Agate than we've ever been. But Sushant says book a pub, mate. We'll get 1,000 in. You won't get 1,000 in a pub. I'm not being arrogant, but we will. We had 1,000 at the last show. But my point is, imagine Christmas, Dublin. People love it. But my point is that we should be getting this Agate deal done now. And yet I still feel agitated that we might sit on this for another 2 weeks. I still think we might go into the Fulham game going, we'll be fine with Mainu, Bruno and Casemiro. And we bloody won't. We won't. We won't be fine with Casemiro. He is a pro. I mean, imagine if Scott McTominay goes to Fulham and then plays against Man United. They won't want that to happen, will they? But I think with the Ugarte deal, we just need to get it done. We do need to get it done. But what are your thoughts about the João Neves deal? Just very, very quickly. He has gone for 50. Well, he's gone for 60 million plus 60 million euros plus 10 plus Renato Sanchez on loan. But let's deal in pounds here because we are a British football club. In fact, we are English. So we will deal in English British pounds. 60 million euro is 52 million pounds. It's what we paid for Lenny Yoro. And João Neves was a player that Man United and Ineos really liked. So I'm looking at that deal and I'm going, we must have done some favour here with PSG. We must have gone, have a free run at him and give us Ugarte. Because to me, it doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all why we haven't gone in for João Neves if we want him so much. I mean, it's the second. If you'd have said to me in March what two players the Man United really want, I'd have said Michael Elise and João Neves because Ineos made no secret of the fact that those two players were two players they really, really wanted. And they've got neither. Bayern Munich blew us out the water for Elise and PSG have beaten us to João Neves. But I have a theory. Some people might look at it and go, we blew it. I don't think we blew it. I think PSG have given him the money up front. I think Man United could have done a deal for 52 million, but it would have been over 5 years at 10 million a year. I think PSG have probably given him the money up front, and we can't do that. That's the only thing I can think of. And also, I hope Man United have had a chat with PSG and said, we won't get in the way. You know, we won't get in the way as long as you do us a good deal for Ugarte. So hopefully now there's two clear bits of evidence that we should move quickly on Ugarte. Remember, Ugarte has agreed personal terms. He's just coming back off his holiday. I don't know whether he's back in training with PSG yet. Some of you might. But João Neves is here we go. So PSG will be thinking, okay, we've got our business done. And there's talk of McTominay going to Fulham. So there's two reasons why this deal should start to move quickly now. M. Parker says, shout out to Craig. I know you watching. I know. Don't know what that is. Yeah, shout out to Craig, whoever you are. And Kana Dave says, we always talk common sense on here. Is there not any way to get Sir Jim's ear, Mark? How do we complain about inactivity? I think, you caught me out there, Kana Dave, who's from Canada. Kana Dave. I think every owner of a football club is always going to be held accountable. Like we've had this week about moving out of Old Trafford. I've always said I think Old Trafford should be a listed building. And a listed building in the UK cannot be knocked down. I don't know whether that has ever existed for a sporting venue. It should have happened with Wembley as well. But the bottom line is, when we move out of Old Trafford, £2 billion has got to be found. It only cost Spurs £1 billion to build their stadium. So we're already doubling that. Where are we getting the bloody money from? So all owners must be held accountable. I think within the United fan base at the moment, when you think about the movements against the Glazers, they were very vocal, they were very visible, and they've gone very, very quiet. Because I think they're hoping that this is going to work. But hoping will be too late if it doesn't work. We must always keep our fingers on the pulse on every decision that's made. And even if you like 9 of them, if you don't like one of them, you should be vocal about it because that's the job of a football fan. However, in relation to inactivity in the transfer window, I still don't, and I might be in the minority, I still don't blame Ineos. I think that what they've done in a very short period of time is actually pretty good. I would have expected Qatar to have done a lot of what's been done, maybe more, because they wouldn't have had debt and they would have owned all the clubs, so they probably would have got more done. But for Ineos, who only own 28%, the Glazers still own the football club. Some forget that. For Ineos, who only own 28% and only have responsibility for the footballing side of things, I think they've done quite well. A strategic review doesn't mean anything if you can't do some of the stuff that the review says. And we still... somebody said this to me the other week. Get your head around this. Somebody said this the other week. We still don't know how Man United runs. in the sense that if Man United want to sign Ugarte for 50 million, does Sir Jim Ratcliffe have to go to Joel Glazer to get the sign-off? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. You know, you've got all these journalists, you know, kissing the arse of the club to get in a press conference because that's the only thing they can write about. Nobody does any journalism. Like, nobody actually does any proper journalism around Manchester United because they can't be arsed because they're all on the bloody gravy train. You know, there's an interview with Ten Hag tomorrow with all the written press. Some of the written press who've got that interview tomorrow were writing on Twitter when he was playing games, sack him. And they'll be sat there in front of him tomorrow, you know, begging for a line or two, I'm not talking about drugs, to put in their article to justify their own job. It's laughable. It's laughable, the modern media around Man United and how up the arse of Man United they have to be. And how disrespectful they've been over the last 12 months. Why can none of these people who've got a blue tick and went to bloody university, why can't they figure out how Man United's being run? Because I'd love to know that. Because I actually don't blame Ineos for the inactivity. I still think we'll get where we need to get. But you can't buy until you've sold. We've got one of the biggest wage bills in Europe. I get it. We've got to sell a midfielder before we buy a midfielder. We've got to sell a right back before we buy a right back. We've got to sell a centre back before we sell a centre back. I get that. And we all know it's very difficult to do it because the previous regime handed out ridiculous wages. And some people won't go. But what we don't know, and I think it's a great point, and nobody knows this, if Sir Jim Ratcliffe has said, I want to pay £50 million for Ugarte now, and Joel Glazer has said, no, you're not paying that until we sell a midfielder. We don't know that. Apparently, Ineos have got total control of the footballing side, but I very much doubt they've got total control of the budget strings. So we don't know a lot of what goes on at Manchester United because we don't know how much control the Glazers actually have on the transfer budget. So, you know, there is a slowdown in the activity, but I think Ineos have done a good job in a short period of time for somebody that only owns 28%. If they owned all of it, I think there'd be more accountability. If they got rid of the debt, I think there'd be more accountability. But the debt's still there. The Glazers still own the football club, and they've only got responsibility for the football side. So, you know, we don't know. We sit there and go, we've got to sell to buy, but we also don't know who's signing the checks off. And I don't think Joel Glazer has ever been somebody in the last decade that just sits there and goes, forget about it, crack on. You know, he's always been very hands-on. So, yeah, Klopp has announced his retirement, says Mojo. Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I don't believe it. I think Klopp's retirement's a little bit like John Cena. You know, he'll be back. Mark, thank you very much for all you do. I've been a member and watcher of the channel for years, and I'm always very, very grateful, says PT5. Thank you very much. Giles says Wembley Towers were listed buildings. Thank you. Rory says, will you be doing watch-alongs for the men's Olympics beach volleyball? And funnily enough, no. James Parkinson says, Mark, be my VIP at my wedding in Vegas on the 3rd of the 9th, 24. I would love to, but there ain't no way I'm going to get sign off to go and do that. Darren Mullaney has gifted a membership. Thank you very much. Delusional Unicorn says, hi Mark, Sir Jim in chat asked, didn't we put in a 60 million bid for Neves that was laughed at? And not now, Dave says, part of Highbury's listed, why Arsenal had to move. There we go. And do you think Gary Neville is avoiding you? Because I do, says Mohammed. I don't know. I mean, I don't know, and I don't really care, really. You know, that was a long time ago. I think it would be very, very good content, but he's not the only one. There's an arrogance in the football media. I think the American market's absolutely brilliant. The way that they're, you know, some of the best pundits in American sport never played the game. You know, if you watch NFL or other sports, it's really, really good. Unfortunately, the UK is very insular and slow on the uptake, but the only thing I ever wanted to do with Neville was just have a debate, but you know, he wouldn't do it. It's up to him. Make your own minds up. Steve B, welcome to the Members Club. Why are we still not looking for a left back, says Jordan? Because I think we've got to get other positions in first. 30 million for Scott is fair, but now it's just about having the ruthlessness to do it. I'll be fuming if we bottle the Ugarte deal. I think this is a great point by Hayden. I think this is a great point. I think we've got an offer on the table we should take. And like last year, some prat in the club is going to go, let's keep him around because he's a nice lad. Nice lads don't win you titles. If we get Mazraoui, De Ligt, Agate, where do you think we'll end up in the league? I think those 3 players would be very, very helpful to the squad. And barring injury, I would expect top 4, Jesper, which is, I think, the ceiling of anything we'll achieve this year because we're not winning the title. Played Chido last year against Arsenal 17s. Crazy technically for someone so tall. Gives me Isak vibes. Has the arrogant winning attitude too, says Alex. Sounds great. Exciting as well. Have it in Cork marked as forever a red. Have you got any big venues? Because I will. And Mark, just clarifying, paying transfers in instalments helps preserve cash but doesn't actually impact FFP since annual expense is recorded evenly, says Jose. There you go. And Avinash says, as injury-prone Shaw is, would we keep Wan-Bissaka and have to play Mazraoui at left-back if the situation arises? I don't think so, Avinash. I think Mazraoui only comes in if Wan-Bissaka comes in. In fact, there was another update tonight, excuse me, from a couple of sources saying that... West Ham are very confident that they will do a deal for Wan-Bissaka, but they've just got to iron out the fee with Man United and the wages with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And I think that the fee that they might be giving Man United has been quoted tonight as being as low as 10 million quid, which I just think, I think there's a bit of a... I don't think people listen about my issue with Wan-Bissaka. I've always liked him as a player. I think he's a really good right back. I just don't want him at Man United because he's not very good going forward. He's too defensive for me. But he's definitely worth 25 million. I know he's only got 1 year left on his contract, so you can take a bit off, but you can't go lower than 16 million. I think that's an absolute joke. I think 15 million, like Marvin AM says, absolutely fine. But anything less than that, it's absolutely ridiculous in my mind. So yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think it's stupid. Fabrizio's just given us an update for Lenny Yoro. So more tests to follow soon. But Man United are now concerned that Lenny Yoro has fractured his metatarsal. It'd mean up to 2 months sideline for the new signing, as per Chris Wheeler. So that's looking a little bit more concerning, isn't it? Yeah, look, I mean, it's sort of the middle ground, isn't it? They've obviously had concerns about the foot. I still don't... Look, I'm no expert in this, but when David Beckham broke his metatarsal in 2002, 22 years ago, I'm pretty sure we knew very, very soon just how, how quickly that was the case. So this is 3 weeks later. Sorry, 3 days later, and they still don't know whether he's broken his foot. I mean, just put it on a bloody scan. It's obvious, So I still think that there is, unless they've kept it quiet, but Man United fear he might have broken his metatarsal. It really ain't that difficult. You do a bloody X-ray and it will say broken, unless it's a hairline fracture. But even then, they should be able to see it. So, look, it could have been worse. It could have been worse. It could have been broken ankle. It could have been knee. But what we're getting is there are concerns that Lenny Yoro has fractured his metatarsal and could be out for up to 2 months, which from this point would mean October. But, I sort of look at it and I go, is anything going to change? I mean, I try not to get frustrated about this sort of thing because who do you blame? But it is one of the most frustrating things. I mean, at some point, you've got to look and go, why is this happening? Because it can't just be bad luck. We've literally just bought this guy, and in his fucking second pre-season game, he's out for 2 months. 52 million quid. We'll be laughed at again. But then you look at last season, the same thing happened. Kobe Mainu out until November. Ahmad out till Christmas. Mason Mount was pretty much injured straight away. All last season as well. There's just, it's, I don't know. Is it the long flights going straight into a game? I mean, we didn't fly until, was it Wednesday, Thursday, and then you're playing 48 hours later? Is it the pictures? Is it the training? Is it the fitness and conditioning? I mean, I personally think it's the fitness and conditioning because it's been happening all the time. But then Yoro's one could just be completely and utterly bad luck because he's not actually been training with us for that long. But it's a real pain in the arse, to be honest with you, because what it means is you bought a player and you haven't got that player. So you're back there with Lindelof and Maguire again, aren't you? You know, you're back playing Harry Maguire in a Premier League game at the start of the season, and it just makes you feel sick. Makes you want to throw up. But we had this feeling all last season. You know, hello darkness, my old friend. We've had this feeling. It's nothing new. We had it nearly every week for the whole season last year. This constant fear. And I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say because we're not party to the information, are we? When Martinez broke his metatarsal, he was out for 8 months, says Paddy. Well, you make a good point, Paddy. I don't know what we did there, really. But look, hopefully it won't be that long. But I also worry about 18-year-olds getting injured anyway. You know, you don't want to be picking up injuries when you're 18. You know, yeah, look, I choose not to think about it, and let's just hope he's back soon. R35 Addict, thank you very much. Olsen says, Aaron Wan-Bissaka is amazing defensively. However, he's not even a good backup as we want an attacking fullback. Can't people grasp that? Also, Mark, it would be podcast Spotify. Thank you very much, Olsen. You're looking scrumptious, as MSJ. Thank you very much. Hope you're joining me at 3 a.m. Nicholas Lawler says, who could be a lawyer, Mark, where's the 1.2 billion we were told we would need an investment? Club sold 26% to Ineos. Where's the investment beside the additional 200 million Ineos paid for Carrington? Did Ineos invest into the Glazers' pocket? Mate, I don't want to sort of rip the piss out of you, Nicholas, but you are Mr. Naive. Where do you think the 1.2 billion to the Glazers went? Come on, you've got 20 years of evidence here. They bought us on debt. They've never put a penny of their own money in, not even 10p, not even $1. And you think when they get 1.2 billion for 26%, they're going to put anything back in? Absolutely not. I mean, I get, Nicholas, I know what you're saying. There should be some money going back, but dividends, debt, mate, they've rinsed this club for years and they'll keep doing it. Hi, Mark. By building the new stadium, does that put us into a much greater debt? I donated a few weeks back. Worrying about selling seems no change, says Riley J. We'll be in massive debt for the stadium. Yeah, massive. So if you don't think McTominay deal will get done, how does that move the Agate deal closer, says Julius? Hypothetically. It's not the Mark Goldbridge show. It's the United Stand. What I think isn't always right. In fact, some people would say what I think is normally wrong. Factually, dealing with news, then McTominay 30 million bid from Fulham should get accepted. You know, a normal person would look at that and go, that's a good deal. If that gets accepted, we've sold our midfielder, we can buy our midfielder, and on top of that, PSG have just bought João Neves. So I would say Agate deal is closer. I just don't think we will sell Scott McTominay. I'll believe it when I see it. Because for some reason, we seem obsessed with keeping players that should have been moved on maybe 2 years ago. James Parkinson, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. And LMP says, I think Ineos wouldn't have agreed personal terms with Agate if they weren't willing to pivot from selling Casemiro to McTominay if needed to, says LMP. Thank you very much to you for that. Arjun, welcome to the Members Club. And Ben Feldman says, I'm concerned about muscle injuries in the next game in South Carolina. The heat and humidity there is dangerous to be playing in, says Ben. Yeah, I mean, but you know what, Ben? I thought this the other day, and I have to word it in the right way because there's always some knobhead trying to clip me up and take it out of context. But the two players that I probably wouldn't have wanted to get injured, got injured. Lenny Yoro and Rasmus. beyond that, if Rashford gets injured, we've got Garnacho to come back. If Ahmad gets injured, you've still got Garnacho to come back. So if Mount gets injured, we've got Bruno to come back. If Casemiro gets injured, I'd play Collier, to be honest. So any other injuries we get aren't going to be as impactful as losing your brand new £52 million centre-back or your out-and-out striker. And I know we've got Xerxes, but we don't really know what Xerxes is yet. So you're right, we might pick up more injuries. There's 2 games in 3 days. We might well pick up more injuries, you're right. But I tell you what, I think we're already very unlucky to be coming out of this tour with 2 injuries. If we come out with more, then yeah, we'll have to see. Brian's just gifted 5 memberships. Lots of people getting memberships in tonight. Nice to see so many badges in the chat. Absolutely fantastic. Brian Van Emelen. Don't forget, the book is out tonight. It's the 31st of August where I am. The book comes out on the 1st. So you can physically get your book. You can audio get your book as well. You can listen to me telling you the story, which I can't wait because it's going to be really weird. I don't know how it sounds. So it's out, and what I was told by the publisher this afternoon is that we're about 200 sales away from getting into the top 10 sales, top 10 bestsellers list based on the numbers from last week. They've sort of figured out what we need. So please do buy the book because it would be amazing to get into that Sunday Times bestsellers list. And I think you'll enjoy it anyway. If you spend your time like you do watching the United Stand, then I think you'll enjoy the book. I really, really do. There are some signed copies with W.H. Smith as well if you live in the UK left as well. Daily Hibbert says, evening Mark, off topic, but do you know if it's true that we paid £50 million for Anthony with 30 million in add-ons? I think that sounds about right. It was 85 million euros altogether. Probably able to tell you this very, very quickly. Manchester United signed Anthony for initial fee of 95 million euros. The total fee could rise to 100 million euros. Well, I don't know whether that's true. 86 million. Bloody hell. I was in a good mood. Manchester United. Here we go. This will be the best one. Manchester United agree £85 million deal to sign Anthony from Ajax. Anthony will arrive in Manchester on Monday. Ajax rejected Man United's 76.3 bid for the player. And United ended up paying 80.75 guaranteed and another 4.25 in add-ons. Wow. That's in pounds as well. Wow. We paid 80 million and then there's another 4. Basically, it goes to 85 million pounds. God, that's depressing, isn't it? That is just... Is that as bad as Maguire, 80 million? It makes you want to fucking throw up, doesn't it? You know, look, I often think, well, we did a video on it. I'm sure we did. 5 worst transfers that Man United have made in the last 10 years. And I'm sure we did a video on it. If not, we bloody should. Nicholas says, I'm not being naive, Mark, highlighting their greed. Nobody is asking about the investment we apparently needed. Why isn't this being spoken about? Mate, Nicholas, you're absolutely spot on. There is so much that's not being spoken about at the moment. Ineos only own 28%. Glazers never get spoken about. I don't understand why. Why bring in Yoro when had an experienced Cambuala? Says R35. I wouldn't describe Cambuala as experienced, to be fair. Ray Dan Game says, hi Mark, do you think Fred leaving had an impact on Casemiro's performances last season? As it was with Fred, he had his best performances. I got an email from James Linus the other day, and I agree with him on this. He said, I mean, it's a good point by Ray, but here's an alternative to that. I think Fred next to Casemiro is better than Eriksen next to Casemiro, but I would argue that Mainu next to Casemiro is better than Fred next to Casemiro. I think the real player, and James emailed me about this the other day, that covered Casemiro's deficiencies, and we didn't have him last year, was not Fred, it was Martinez. I think Martinez covered for Casemiro a hell of a lot. because obviously when you've got Martinez in the team, you play a lot higher, and Martinez's ability to read the game and move into the midfield is elite. So I actually think Martinez had a bigger impact on Casemiro than Fred did, because remember, we had Mainu in that midfield for a lot of the second half of the season, and Casemiro still struggled. And I think the defensive line not being close to him left him exploited, whereas when you've got Martinez in the team, he's a lot closer to the holding midfielder. What's worse is we could have got Anthony for 35 at the beginning. Oh, Lee, you're so true. That's over 100 million euros, says Jackie Boy. Mate, look, Ajax should have a museum dedicated to Manchester United Football Club. They should. We should be, forget twinning Amsterdam with Manchester. They should twin it with bloody Manchester United, because we've probably kept them propped up as a football club for the next 100 years. How they got that out of us, I'll never know. I'll never know. But it's not Ineos's fault. Absolutely not. Of course it's not. But I mean, it's just incredible. But let's not piss about. I mean, it's not the only one, is it? You know, Maguire for 80 million. Wan-Bissaka for 50 million, wasn't worth it at the time. Neither of them were. Jadon Sancho for 74 million. To be fair, they probably did us there as well. There's a few. Yeah, I was going to talk about Yoro, but I'm not actually convinced, if I'm being honest with you. There was some breaking news earlier about a big departure from the Manchester United coaching staff. I mean, if you count Steve McClaren potentially leaving as a big departure, then that's basically what it was all about. But I think that I don't see it as a big departure. I think Steve McClaren's done a good job. I'm not in any way, shape or form having a go at him. But I think with Van Nistelrooy there and Rennie Heck there, do you need McClaren? And if he gets the offer of a job, why would he not take it? I tell you what I did want to talk about, though, a little bit later in the show. So Dwight York, very, very good player for Man United, but I think he talks a lot of shit. He's been at it again. This is his quote. Basically, he says, I agree with Michael Owen, which is straight away your biggest mistake. So Dwight York, direct quote, I agree with Michael Owen. Well, that's it. I'm out. Bloody idiots. I agree with Michael Owen. I think it's going to be very difficult for Højlund to be a 20-goal-a-season striker from what I've seen, and I think it will never happen. He's still young, but even watching him at Euro 24, he's lacking something. I'm not quite sure what it is. He's not got that X factor that you look for in strikers. I think he's a good player. I think that's the category I would put him in, as he's still very developing, and there is huge hope for the kid, and I'm wishing the best, but I'm not seeing it yet. I hope he surprises me, but I have my doubts about it. I just think he's going to be I just don't think he's going to be Manchester United's. Do I think he's going to be Man United's saviour? The answer is no. I think he'll continue to have fun like he did last season, but I don't think he'll make a massive difference in terms of what United expected to be for that type of money. So basically, in a nice way, you're basically saying he's shit. You're saying he's young, but he's lacking something, and you're saying you hope he gets proven wrong, but he'll never be a 20-goal striker. I mean, this is what I'm talking about American things, right? In America, Dwight York would say that, and somebody who hasn't played the game, who is allowed to sit next to him, would bury the prat for talking total shite. How can he sit there? This is the problem with ex-players, right? Not all, there are some good ones out there, but most ex-players have played the game. They've got a vast array of property portfolios that bring them in thousands of pounds every month. They're basically made for life. And they get paid to go on shows and do website articles. And really, they're already set for life. So they won't spend the time actually watching football beyond maybe Man United games here and there. They don't analyse the game like you do. They don't watch a wide range of football like you do. And they don't take the time to understand the modern game either, because they played the game 20 years ago and scored goals, and that's all I need to know. I'll tell you something about Rasmus, and I've said it before. Rasmus, last season, was second to one player, Mateta, in the Premier League when it came to accuracy of shot. And he was in the top 5 for goal conversion rates in the Premier League. Fact, across a whole season, he was in the top 5 for goal conversion rate, and he was in the top 2 for shots on target. Unfortunately, he was 52nd for shots per game. So Dwight, put that in your pipe and smoke it. In fact, smoke it, because I know you like a cigar, because he will score 20 goals in a season if he does get the service. Because the stats show that he's a very good finisher and he's very accurate. But what the stats show is he doesn't get any fucking shots. That's why he won't get 20 goals. You put Rasmus up front for Liverpool, he'd probably score you 30 goals. Because Darwin Núñez at Liverpool gets the most chances in the Premier League last season with one of the worst conversion rates. He just needs service. He just needs service. It's as simple as that. Hi, Mark. I saw someone say Salah is the most overrated player in the world. Thoughts? I mean, look, it's not a Liverpool show, but I think Mo Salah's a fantastic player. Martinez helped Casemiro with high line and passing. Also helped Bruno stay at the cam position because we retain more possessions, as Patrick. 100%. Gitonga says that the news just dropped that Yoro has broken a metatarsal. Let's all say it. The news didn't drop, Gitonga. It's slow sparks news from Gitonga. We've been talking about it, mate. We've been talking about it. We'll just have to wait and see. Personally, if you're getting up at 3 a.m. or you're watching the watch along later, I guarantee we'll get an update from Ten Hag about this before the game anyway. Just hope McTominay don't get injuries before the sale, says Not Now Dave. Yeah, well, yeah. Maybe we should get De Ligt before Agate, says Alex. Worst all-time United 11, says Chicharito. Mate, I wouldn't be able to give you that off the top of my head because there's so many candidates. What's worse is we could have got Anthony, we've done that one from Lee Berman. And will we see Ahmad start over Anthony this season, says Abanash. Well, I can think of 85 million reasons why we've got to try and make Anthony a success. Hi, Mark. The United stand has helped me since my wife died 4 years ago, says MW. Mate, I'm really sorry to hear that. And I hope you're doing well. And I'm very glad that you find solace in this fantastic community. And I hope you're doing well. Jackson and Núñez aren't the best finishers, but at least they offer a lot more off the ball and are in the game. Rasmus doesn't offer enough, and his positioning and awareness is terrible, says JS. Why don't you use your real name, Dwight? Because you're talking shite. What did you not, mate? Have you not watched our last 7 games where Rasmus has played? He scored 2 goals before the FA Cup final, where he got the ball early and took the ball and scored. He scored a goal against Arsenal literally a few days ago, where the ball's early. He's on the halfway line. He muscles somebody out of the play. He runs in and scores. What shit are you talking? Because I tell you what, it's prime shit. He offers nothing, and his positioning and awareness is terrible. Mate, you don't watch Man United. You don't watch Manchester United. So what was the problem with Cavani? What was the problem with Martial? What was the problem with Ronaldo? Why weren't they getting any service either? You know, was Cavani's positioning shit? Was Ronaldo's positioning shit? Was Martial's positioning shit? Why is every striker in a graveyard shift at Man United? I'll tell you what, I'm going to do a video on this. I'm going to tell you why Man United don't score goals. And it won't be because of the number 9. I haven't got all the stats yet, but I can guarantee you it will be things like we're shit at crossing, we're always getting caught offside, we shoot from outside the box, and we create fuck all for our striker. And I guarantee you that will be the truth as to why we don't score many goals. I don't have the stats at the moment, but I will go and find them. And if I don't do the video, it means I've mugged myself off. But I will go and find that, 100%. Because this goes beyond Rasmus and it goes beyond Ten Hag. For anybody who's been watching the United stand for years, the graveyard shift was invented when? I'd say 2019. Definitely Ollie. Definitely Ollie era. Maybe even Mourinho. The graveyard shift's been running, you know. I tell you what, the graveyard shift's nearly ready for secondary school. They've been alive that long. It's been going on for years, mate. Years and years. Hi, Mark. The United stand, we've done that from MW. What a lovely message that was. It means so much to people, doesn't it, this community? You feel part of something. I know I do. FFP, sell to buy, budgets, debt, they all should be gone with 1.2 billion. Let it sink in. United stand, says Nicholas Lawler. And Avanash says, will we see Ahmad start over Anthony this season? Well, I think I've read that one before, and I hope you're right. Gareth Southgate says, embarrassing to name Cavani and Højlund in the same sentence. Well, it's only embarrassing that your intelligence level is so low. Nobody was comparing Cavani and Højlund. We were talking about the striker issue at Manchester United being something that's been running for years because we don't provide service. Because when was the last time we had a wide player that can actually create for a striker? I don't remember. I don't remember the last person who could actually do that. Mark, the only person to play forwards in with good crosses is Luke Shaw. I think you're right, David Morse. I think you are. Nico Williams, everyone. Spain's best player for me. A proper winger, says Dead. And look, I'd love Yamal on one wing and Nico Williams on the other. I mean, that's proper modern wingers. People who want to create, but people who can score as well. In fact, I think it was James as well who said in his email, absolutely spot on. Listen to this. People will shoot and score when their contract dictates that's beneficial to them. You know what? We've hit two bangers tonight. One of them, why don't any journalists actually try and figure out how much power the Glazers have got? Like, can Sir Jim buy a player without the Glazers saying yes? Yes or no? Does anybody know that? Why don't we know that? Why, as fans of our football club, do we not know who is or isn't holding up these transfers? Who has their finger on the button in relation to transfer budgets? Is it Ineos or is it the Glazers? We know Ineos are in charge of transfers, but the actual, we want to spend £50 million, who is in charge of that? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And I tell you what we don't know as well. I would love to know the detail of some of Man United's contracts, because James made a great point and he said, we want our wingers to be creative. If their contract is written in a way that it's beneficial for them to score, then they are going to shoot. If their contract is built in a way where they'll get paid the same for an assist, then they'll provide assists. And I would bet pound to a penny of shit that most of our wingers get paid better bonuses when they score the goal. And the modern footballer is very selfish. So if you're on the wing for Man United and you know you're going to earn yourself tens of thousands of pounds from scoring, but you get fuck all for an assist, some people might say that's very basic. Is it? You cut inside, you can put a cross to the back post, or you can shoot. 50 grand in your pocket if you score. But again, I could be talking total shit. But again, nobody knows, because these are the secrets that fans get kept in a bloody dark shed like mushrooms and fed on shit. We should know this sort of stuff. I find it weird that we shoot from outside the box so much. But if every player in our attack is on a goal bonus and not on an assist bonus, well, there's the problem. There is the problem. And don't tell me that's not in their contract. We're giving people 200 grand a week who are worth 50. We're paying 85 million pounds for people who are worth 50. You're telling me we're not putting it in their contract? We'll give you 100k for every goal, but we'll give you 5k for an assist. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. But I guarantee all our wingers are getting a lot more for scoring than they are for creating. And who knows what that means. Steve McLaren leaves Manchester United, says Nozzy. I did tweet it ages and ages ago. What time did I do it at? Oh, yeah. Official. Steve McLaren leaves Manchester United to become the new coach of the national team of Jamaica. I just need to quote tweet it. The thing is, I don't show off about stuff like that. I knew that at 6 o'clock tonight, but I didn't really feel. I think, what did I tweet? I just said, wouldn't say Steve McLaren leaving us is groundbreaking, because I didn't think it was. I mean, we're not going to do a show on it, but I did know it about 6 o'clock tonight. But wish him all the best. It's a new coaching regime. Van der Geeg's gone, McLaren's gone. I'm indifferent to it, really. I wasn't. It's not like Mike Phelan at the end who needed to go. I think I wish him all the best. We've made a change, and it makes sense. Right, We are back at, well, it's a 3 a.m. kickoff, but we are back. I think I'm going to go live about half an hour before, just in case the kickoff gets put back like it normally does. I guarantee you it won't kick off until about 3:15. So I will be live at 2:30 a.m. And also I will be wearing a special outfit to celebrate the launch of my new book, which is out at midnight tonight. Get your orders in, scan the QR code. Please do support it. We only need another 200 sales to get into the top time Sunday 10's bestseller list. So please do support it. As always, you've been brilliant on charity streams. You've been brilliant on getting us to 1 million subscribers. You've been brilliant on coming to live shows. So please do support the book. I think you'll enjoy it as well. And as ever, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. Links in the description. You can scan the QR code on your phone. And I will be back. Probably a little bit more tired. I've just pinned it in the live chat as well, the link as well. I will be back probably a little bit more tired than I am now at 2:30 in the morning, right the way through till about 5:30 in the morning. Oh, lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. I am watching the game, Nathan, because this is what we do. This is what we do. You know, most of you, a lot of you do it every week. Sometimes twice a week. So, yeah. Take care, everyone. Speak to you all in a bit. At 3 a.m. for the watch along. In fact, I'm going to set the stream up now so you can get in the live chat.